Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome to another edition of your boys reporting eligible, man. On this platform where you already know we're dedicated Atlanta Falcon fans, but we also like to talk about all 31 other football teams. We'd like to dabble around and see, what conferences, divisions, and etc. are like. We're big fans of the game, of course. We already know that. So without further ado, we're going to be jumping into each conference that's both AFC and NFC and giving you guys our takes on who will be the division winners for 2025. But before we start all that, man, Brotalk, what is going on, brother? How you been?
Man, I'm good. It's been a long week. I've been looking forward to today, and I'm ready to talk some football. Falcons are less than a week from OTA, so next week we'll talk a lot more Falcons than we will today. But yeah, man, happy to be here.
Absolutely, man. And for the viewers that are out there tuning in, we always thank you for the support. We're doing something a little bit new and invigorating here on reporting eligible. Super chats are open and active per your decision or your choice. We're not asking for anything. We're just letting you know some things that we intend on doing with any donations being thrown our way. And that is, of course, we're issuing a free jersey giveaway 2 weeks prior to the beginning of the season. So all proceeds from now until the beginning of the year will go towards that jersey purchase. And the winner announced 2 weeks before the season starts will have the choice of picking their own jersey to which player they would want to, rock for the 2025 season. So without further ado, let's go right into the chat. Dwayne Ruffin, our brother from sunny SoCal. What is going on, man? Thank you for joining the stream this evening. Louis Algier, Uncle Lou is in the building, man. For those that don't know, Louis Algier, uncle to Tyler Algier, man. Much appreciate your support as always. Mom Dukes is in the building. Carmen Torres, bendición, ma. Hope all is well. And Georgia, Texas boy, what is going on? Says, what up, Berto, Brotalk, and Falcons family? The new era is here. The Atlanta Falcons will rise in 2025. I think this kid here, Georgia, Texas boy, is just as optimistic as you are, Brotalk. Every chat that he comes into, it's always positive. Boy, love that, man.
I love it. Think about it. We're going to be like a phoenix rising from the ashes of 2024 and coming full force 2025.
Love it, man. J Real 404, what's going on? Thank you for joining us this evening again. There's no reporting eligible and none of this without our guy here, Jones Bones, who's in the building. Yo, what up? What up? He's on time. That's impressive. I love that.
Is.
Tony Wright, what's happening, brother Tony, man? Oh, man, let's get this thing cracking, man. So, again, like we mentioned at the top of the show, we'll be picking division winners for each one of our conferences. You see the backdrop. We're going to start off in the AFC. But the AFC North, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals, the Cleveland Browns, the Pittsburgh Artie Steelers, that's the core there. How are you feeling about that division? Each team I feel had a decent draft, but did any one team do enough to stick out more than the other, in your words? The Dixon way, what is going on, man? Appreciate you, man. DSGB Hall, what's good?
I don't think necessarily let me I guess I'll start at the bottom. I think the AFC North at one point was viewed as the toughest division because all teams were contenders. I don't necessarily feel that this season. I feel like, to me, the Browns had a bad draft. Personally, I think they had a bad draft. Besides, the top of their draft, they had some good selections, but overall it was bad. I think the Bengals had a bad draft. I think the Steelers had an okay draft. And the Ravens, I think, had the best draft out of the entire division. To me, the Browns are going to be picking top 5 again next year. They're last. Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel fighting for QB1. I feel more confident if Shador was the quarterback going to be starting, honestly. They didn't add wide receiver help. The defense is a defense. It's going to be great, I think. Joke, I can't say his full name. He's not going to be able to play this year, but Carson Schwessinger, he's going to get to prove why he was selected as high as he was. Then I got the Steelers. It was funny seeing the Chargers release video. It's either playoffs or mediocre season, and I think it's another mediocre season. Aaron Rodgers, they're banking on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And Rudolph and Will Howard are the only QBs on their roster, and
Right.
to me, that's not enough. Like, okay,
Oh.
maybe Will Howard gives you some hope,
Mhm.
but it's going to be another 9-8 season for Mike Tomlin. They're going to start off hot. Steeler fans are going to be waving that towel, and then they're going to be wiping tears from another wasted Cam Hayward wasted season.
Yeah.
The Bengals, second place for me. I think this is going to be a version of the 2016, 2011 version Falcons, where Joe Burrow and company and those offensive weapons will have to carry the defense because that defense is bad.
Bad. Yeah.
Bad. Like,
Yeah.
and then they won't agree to terms with Shamar Stewart. But by the way, that's not a Shamar Stewart problem. That's a Bengals.
That's a Bengals problem.
That's a Bengals problem.
Look what's going on with Trey Hendrickson.
It's same thing, right? And he wants to be out there in camp, but the Bengals have a rule where if you're not signed, you can't participate, which is, to me, it's idiotic, right? It just like you called them, the Bungles. But second place, and in first place, they re-signed Derrick Henry to a 2-year extension. You got Lamar. You have the offensive. You know what Lamar is. I think they retooled the offensive line a little bit, and then they added defense. They got our boy Malachi Starks back there. That's going to be starting. So I mean, it's the Ravens. It's the Ravens division to lose, and I think they'll be a 1-2 seed this year.
Yeah. So shout out John Higgins. What's going on, brother? John Kerry's in the building. What is going on? I'm with you, man. I believe Baltimore just had a superior draft. After the season's all said and done, we could be staring at the best safety tandem in the league with Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks.
Hold on.
Sorry. Go ahead. All right. Go ahead. Xavier Watson, Jesse Bates. I get it.
You can say top 2, but
okay. All right. That's fair. Fair game. I'm allowed to be put in my place. God damn it. So yeah. Oh yeah, but no. To add on, yeah, I believe Baltimore. They're the top dog in the AFC North. They also added, my favorite edge rusher in Mike Green. And you know what Baltimore has been able to do with just edge rushers. That system is amazing down there in Baltimore. So yeah, kudos to Baltimore for what they did. Yeah, I think it's a 2-team race. Steelers and Baltimore tip the edge to Baltimore, bar none. So moving on to the AFC South, Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Tennessee Titans. Man, this is a funky division, right? And the Colts with the news that just broke today. Rest in peace to Jim Irsay, the Colts owner. April Thomas, what's going on, brother? That's Ron Thomas. That is, what's going on, brother? They're going to be playing this season with a little bit, with the heavy hearts, of course, but with a little extra umph in their play. But it's unsettling, right? And at the most pivotal position, the quarterback position, they don't know which direction they're going. Is it Anthony Richardson's show or is it Danny Dimes that's going to be back there? That's going to be back there. So I see this as a team in a flux right now, really trying to find their identity. With Jacksonville, you move on to Jacksonville. What can you say about Jacksonville? I thought by now they would have been an established, AFC threat, but it just hasn't proved that, hasn't proven in that way. Is it Trevor Lawrence? I can't call it. I don't know if it's the defense, maybe. Yeah, you're the expert in that one. And of course, Tennessee with Cam Ward being the number 1 overall pick. I think the team goes as far as Cam can take them. Obviously, they have some talent on that team on both sides. I don't think it'll be enough to withstand, the games against division rivals and everything in the AFC and that what has to offer. So for me, the clear-cut winner here is the Houston Texans for me. And how I would place them? I put Houston number 1. I think I go Jacksonville 2, and rounding out Indianapolis and then Tennessee as the last pick. As the last one there, but Houston had, they had a lot of changes offensive line wise, and CJ Stroud, of course, one of the more sacked quarterbacks, and I know they invested heavily in the draft in the O-line. But do you feel it was enough to keep them at that status quo as number 1 and the AFC South?
Well, I think it's enough because I think of their play caller. I think the play caller coming from the Sean McVay system.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be able to mask a lot of the problems that they have because of the heavy play action, the boots, CJ Stroud can do those type of things. The defense is going to carry that team, to me, in my opinion. I think the rookies will get their feet wet. Both Iowa State receivers, Jalen Knoll, Jaden Higgins. I think they were great additions. They were teammates, so they know how they play together. Personally, I thought they would go Emeka Egbuka, but hey, they traded out of the first round. So be it. But I think it's their division to lose. I think this division is going to be what a lot of people say the NFC South is going to be. I think Houston's only going to come out with like a 9-8, 10-7 record and win the division. And the other teams, I mean, they'll be scratching and clawing. But to me, I have a little bit more confidence in Anthony Richardson than a lot of people do. He was very young when he was drafted. His biggest critique was not enough snaps to run an offense. Shane Steichen, I believe in his development. We've seen progression in Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
Lou Anarumo coming to the defense. He's got pieces there.
Big.
I think the Colts, for me, are the second team. I don't think they come away with the winning record, but they're right there on the cusp. And then after that is the Jags for me. The defense, besides the two edge rushers that they have, Foye Oluokun, former Falcon, shout out. I think their secondary is trash. I think they're learning a new system, but I think the offense will be fun with Liam Cohen calling it. Offensive line still worries me for them, but you got Travis Hunter, Brian Thomas Jr., Travis. Is it Travis? Yeah, Travis Etienne will have a little bit of resurgence with Liam Cohen. And then to me, the Titans are nowhere near ready for contenders. Sure, their defense was good. I think it'll be good again, but that offensive line, I still don't trust. I think it's
me neither.
Garbage. I don't think they'll have a run game. They don't have a true number one. If you argue Tony Pollard number one, no. He's a specialty back. He's not a true number one running back. And then, like you said, it's going to fall heavily on Cam Ward. I mean, that's why he was drafted number one.
Yeah.
But I think they still are a few off seasons away from being competitive.
Solid. So thus far, Baltimore, Houston, winners in their respective divisions. We move on now to the AFC East. Ugh. I hate this division. I really do.
Because you live in that area.
I fucking live in this damn area, the tri-state area up here of New England. So obviously Buffalo Bills, Miami Dolphins, New England, and the New York Jets are the teams that make up the AFC East. I mean, really, when we look at it, Buffalo, right? Obviously, Josh Allen, MVP Josh Allen, still on the helm, under the under center. Their defense, they added Joey Bosa, TJ Saunders in free agency. My guy, Deion Walker. Thank you so much. Landon Jackson, of course, out of Arkansas, a real good run stopper there. To add on to Daquan Jones, Greg Russell. Defense speaks for itself. It's going to be good. Offensively, I think they'll still do the same things they did last year. I expect maybe a bigger year with James Cook. I think he could do a little bit more.
Does he hold out?
Does he hold out? Yeah, he wants that top tier money, man.
Derrick Henry just got an extension.
Oof, boy. Yeah.
So the Bills have signed, Christian Benford, Greg Rousseau, like all these guys.
Yep.
Do they pay their running back? Do you think James Cook is worth that kind of money? Let me ask you that.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, rightfully so. I think so, man. I really do. He's a threat. He's a dual threat. He's a guy that catches the ball out of the backfield effectively. And he shocked me last year as effectively as he ran in between tackles, bouncing to the outside. He's a running back that has home run speed, and James Cook put that on display last year. Give it to him. Give it to him. I'd say so. Didn't realize how bad the AFC was until this breakdown.
Yeah, it's not great.
Not great, brother.
They're on the decline right now.
Yeah. So Miami, of course, their quarterback one hit away from never playing again in Tua. Another team really that, what can you say about the Miami Dolphins? They're a track team on paper. That's it, right? Defensively, they're getting a lot of pieces back with Bradley Chubb and who's the other edge rusher over
Jalen Phillips.
Miami? Yeah, Jalen Phillips. Both defenders coming back. It's still unknown what they're doing with Jalen Ramsey. That could be a weak spot in their cornerback group going into this year. Their talent pool in the corner is not that great, so can they afford to even get rid of a talent like Jalen? Then you move on to the New England Patriots. I think they had a solid free agency. I really do.
They had solid offseason overall, yeah.
Overall, Mike Vrabel leading the helm now there, just a no-nonsense coach. He's really going to have these guys playing. But being in this area and just being force-fed New England bullshit on a day-to-day basis, Drake May looks like shit in camp, and hurrah. I like hearing shit like that.
You know what? I did see Christian Gonzalez get interviewed. He said, I got 2 picks off of him today.
He did get 2 picks. And honestly, that day, he threw 6 picks in camp. 2 by Christian and just 4 overall, just spread out through that defense.
It makes me wonder with him, Josh McDaniels coming back.
Oof.
He does have a complicated offense.
Yes.
But part of Drake May's, evaluation was he was smart. He could retain information and do all that. But, it's camp, right? I know how you feel about the Patriots.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick. Give me your order. It's Bills and then who?
Bill. I'm going to shock you. Jets.
No, you're not. Because I feel the same way, and I was called crazy.
Oh, shit. I really feel like the Jets can make some noise this year in that division. I really do. I love the Aaron Glenn addition. Aaron Glenn is defense. And what is the Jets known for? Defense. They have one. Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, Will McDonald IV. They have pieces on that defense that can model, something to the effect of what the Lions did maybe last year in some variation of form, right? And offensively, you got your dual threat quarterback and Justin Fields, Garrett Wilson connection. That seems like it's going to thrive. I talked to a lot of people within the Jets media and stuff like that. They're high on what Justin Fields and what Garrett Wilson can do. So for fantasy owners out there, make sure you keep an eye on Garrett Wilson going in that first round, man. So yeah, I have it like this. So Buffalo, Jets, I'll go New England third, and then I'll go Miami last. In that order.
Surprisingly, not really surprising because we think alike a lot, is I have it in the same order. I think Miami's going to clear house after this season. I think, we saw what happens when Tua's not running the offense. They don't run.
Yeah.
It doesn't operate. And then defensively, I think their secondary, I think Jalen Ramsey, the whole, like you said, the situation there, without him, they are a bottom tier secondary. They have nice linebackers. Yeah, they added Kenneth Grant, they have some good edge rushers. But if your secondary gets cooked right away, that pass rush isn't getting anywhere.
It's not getting anywhere.
I think the Patriots are one off season away with Mike Vrabel to contend.
Yeah.
I think it's the Bills division to lose. I'm really excited to see Justin Fields. He knows he's got that security with the 2-year contract. He's got Garrett Wilson, sure, Alan Lazard, whatever. I like the Mason Taylor kid that they drafted, Armand Membo. Like overall, and then you're going to see RPO Central from this offense, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think Justin Fields puts people, his perspective, it changes a little bit for him.
Yeah.
Because we know how people feel about Justin Fields. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's just been dealt a bad hand.
Yeah, it's fair.
And
absolutely.
And then to add to your point, Aaron Glenn, he ran, I think, a similar system to that. These players that are already here will be able to pick up and thrive on very easily. So I don't know. I could see the Jets crack 10 wins this season. I could see it and contend for a wild card spot.
Yeah, fair. Absolutely, man. And so to recap, Baltimore, Houston, Buffalo, and now we move on to the AFC West. Boy, that's a tough division because we saw, 3 out of the 4 teams really ascend, right? With Denver, Kansas City, of course, the Chargers, and, Oakland kind of just being on that straight line. Yeah, Las Vegas. I still can't get it.
Old habits die hard.
Old habits do die hard. Just like, what is it? Shea Stadium, and it's known as whatever stadium is now. I will always find Met Stadium as Shea Stadium.
Oh, okay. I'm not a baseball.
Yeah, baseball reference. That's all right. Not on this show, sorry. But AFC West, right? We got Denver, Kansas City, Oakland, and San Diego. Obviously, Los Angeles. La mierda, coño. Broke into the Spanish, bro. That's how aggravating it is trying to fucking remember the coast on this thing here. My spicy take is the Chargers win the AFC West by a small margin. Brotalk. Bones. Before we even started this show, I told you, dude, I got something crazy to say, man. He's like, no, go ahead and say it. Validation 101. Jones Bones, brother, I am with you on this one. Let's talk about the other teams first before we get all I get all happy about the Chargers. But with obviously Kansas City, Super Bowl Kansas City Chiefs, that is, 2 years ago, got fucking mollywopped in the Super Bowl, lost Joe Tooney, well, not in free agency, they traded him. Most of that team has returned. The structure is still there. I still think they compete. I still think they take the division. No, I rephrase. No, they don't take the division, because I'm with Bones on this one. I think the Chargers win this division. I think fucking Kansas City takes a seat back. I think Denver finishes in third place. Oakland finishes in fourth because they don't know what the hell they're doing. But to the Chargers' point, and I know I'm going on length here.
No, good. You're good, brother.
Harbaugh is a running the ball maven, and he has orchestrated and built that O-line masterfully. Joe Alt, Rashawn Slater, they signed Mekhi Becton, Bradley Bozeman, the two guards on the inside. Give it time. The running game is what's going to allow this team to add on to an impressive stat to what they did last year. Obviously, Najee Harris, Omarion Hampton was added in the draft. Do you know that Justin Herbert's dropped back 196 times in play action plays last year? Second most in the NFL. They added Trey Harris from Ole Miss to go with Vlad McConkey, returning Mike Williams or Quentin Johnson, who may or may not make the team due to drops. But I see great things in this Chargers team in 2025. I think they have enough or have done enough to really close the gap on Kansas City and take the West this year. So I'm taking San Diego as your winner in the AFC West this year.
Who's going to tell him?
Oh, I'll tell him. I don't give a damn. Who am I? But I'll tell him.
No. Chat, who's going to tell him?
Oh, no, anybody could. Go ahead. Free for all. Give it to me. Boo this man.
You said San Diego again.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't give a damn. They know what I mean.
No, Chargers. I'm talking about the Chargers.
Mierda, coño.
All right. I think the Raiders are going to finish last. Okay. I think Pete Carroll, we know what he can do. I really like what they did on the offense. I think that offense is going to be fun, especially with Chip Kelly calling the plays. Defensively, I don't think they added enough. A lot of Raider fans, a lot of people are telling me, "What the defense? What?" No, you lost both of your linebackers. You didn't replace them. Sure, your defensive line is pretty good. Wilkins, Crosby, Kantz. Who else is? They drafted a kid they drafted some good players. They're on the right track. One more offseason for me. Third place for me is the Chargers. Hold on one second. Yes. Oh, yummy. Thank you. Bye. My daughter made a special appearance. Bye, sweetheart. Love you. Cookie dough delivery, homemade cookie dough. Okay.
I mean, really?
Anyways, let me get back.
I got a bottle of water, and that's it.
Let me get back to it. The Chargers, to me, they're not going to be a losing record. Here's my spicy take. The AFC West will have 3 teams in the playoffs. Okay, 3 teams. I think the Chargers have 11, 12 wins, but that's not enough in this division. Okay, I think I'm with you. I like what they did, but I still think they're going to struggle slightly in their division because I have the Denver Broncos winning this, and they will be carried by their defense. They added more. Dre Greenlaw, Taloa Hufanga, Jahdae Barron. That defense was already dominant, and then they added more. Jahdae Barron starting opposite Pat Surtain.
No, that's crazy.
One. Riley Moss, he looked good for a slight bit, and then teams figured out, that's the guy we need to go after. Mm-hmm. So Jahdae Barron is not going to have any trouble. Dre Greenlaw is going to be there. Taloa Hufanga, as long as he stays healthy.
Same with Dre Greenlaw.
Dre Greenlaw, yeah. If they stay healthy, I'm not worried about them handling the run against the Chargers. And that's the thing. They play each other twice. You and I talked about this. You still want Bo Nix to show you more. I think Bo Nix can do enough. with what he has. The offensive line is great. I think RJ Harvey does enough. You know, they added Evan Ingram. They still have Cortland Sutton. Like, I think this team, I think this team can win the division with 13 games, putting the Chiefs second. I think the Chiefs are a wild card team. Here's another one. I don't think the Chiefs make the AFC Championship game for the first time in 8 years that they don't make it, right? They've been in almost every single one since Mahomes took over as a starter. So I think the reason is that offensive line. I don't think the Chiefs addressed it enough. Yes, they drafted Josh Simmons, but is his knee fully healthy? Are they going to kind of sideline him for a little bit? And then, you know, a lot of people are like, you can't redshirt in the pros. Yes, I know, but you understand the reference if I say redshirt, right?
Of
what
course.
does redshirt mean?
You don't play. You said
right?
it. That's it.
Mahomes did it, right? Yep. You can't redshirt in pro. Yeah, no shit. Anyways, Josh Simmons, is he going to start? You know, they signed, who was it? Dan Moore Jr.?
Yeah, yep.
Who's going to play guard? Is Dan Moore going to play guard? Is Josh Simmons? Like, there's so many question marks. You know, they could prove us completely wrong, but I think this is where they take a step back a year or two before they, you know, climb back up. I make the comparison, right? Tom Brady had those couple down years where they were still in the playoffs. They didn't make the championship. They didn't make the Super Bowl, but then they were back. And I think that's what happens.
Fair enough. To recap the AFC conference, we got Baltimore. We're taking the AFC North, AFC South, the Houston Texans, the AFC East, the Buffalo Bills, and myself and Brotalk are split on the AFC West, where I took the Chargers and he took the Broncos.
Pony up, baby.
Pause. And now flipping the script, NFC time. Everybody's favorite conference, that is the NFC. Start with the NFC North, the Chicago Bears, the Detroit Lions, the Green Bay Packers, and the Minnesota Vikings. Man, do I like what the Minnesota Vikings did, bro. Man, hell of a free agency. I know you have your qualms about what they did in free agency, but to add on to what Brian Flores has already done with the existing defense, to add on the pieces, the playmakers that they did, I'm digging. But who is J.J. McCarthy? We said that a couple weeks ago. Who is that young man? I don't know too much about J.J. McCarthy. Why is that? Because he spent most of his sophomore or his rookie year hurt, and we really don't know what he's going to do under that offensive scheme. We just don't know. So I'm not going to put all my eggs in one basket and just proclaim that Minnesota is going to be the winner. I feel it's the Green Bay Packers this year. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. Hold on.
Green Bay Packers.
Give me the explanation. I need to hear it.
I think Detroit hurt. What's going to hurt Detroit, obviously, right? I'm going to go down this route. Losing both coordinators. Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, losing them. I think that was the sole identity of what Detroit's makeup was. Yeah, they got Dan Morgan, the super high-fired, head coach, fiery guy. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough to get this team going. They drafted Talik Williams in the first round or second round. It was, to give him some girth in the middle of that defense for Aiden Hutchinson and company. Pause. I think they take a step back. I really feel like they do take a step back. John Morton, I think, is the offensive coordinator, taking over Ben Johnson. I don't know too much about John Morton, what he's done around the league. Does he have any? Has he left an imprint on any other organization where, oh my God, he's a must-have? I don't know. I don't know too much about Detroit's ability to really overcome these two losses. I think these two losses are going to be significant. With Chicago and Caleb, they had a tremendous offseason, obviously, stealing Drew Dahlman from us, adding Joe Tooney. Luther Burden III goes over there. Yeah. I can see them finishing second place. I can go with Detroit finishing third. This is wild, man, because that would mean Minnesota finishes in last place, and they were a 12-win team last year, right? So,
hey, let me tell you a saying that people
don't
realize.
Yeah,
sports are fluid, meaning
anything
can happen.
Anything can happen. Absolutely.
Just because you did something this year, and you're expected to do it this year,
Mhm.
Doesn't necessarily happen. Injuries,
Mhm.
right? Rookies not panning out,
Yeah.
right? Okay. In my rankings, I have the Vikings finishing last in that division.
Do you? Holy shit. Okay.
The secondary to me was not
Yep.
corrected. Are
No.
those two
Right.
veterans, Jonathan Allen and Hargrave,
Yep.
are they just a shell of who they were?
Mhm.
Because they were out of a job. Now, Jonathan Allen was a contract thing. I think he'll be fine. But Hargrave, he's bounced around. He had a
Sure.
tricep injury. Like,
Mhm.
question marks there. I think defensively, I think they'll still give people trouble, even with the poor corners that they have. But
Mhm.
yeah, JJ McCarthy, everyone wants to be like, oh, he's got KOC. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
So
Kirk
what?
Cousins had KOC.
Mhm.
Everyone,
True.
but ask Kirk Cousins. Ask Kirk Cousins. Hey, you want to put KOC on this pedestal?
Right.
Come on now. Come on now. Anyways, yeah, I have them finishing last. I actually have the Packers finishing third.
Okay.
I like the Golden or the Matthew Golden.
Matthew Golden.
I almost said Golden Tate. I like the Matthew Golden. I like the Matthew Golden draft piece. But overall, their draft was mid. They still don't have a pass rush. What are they going to send Edrin Cooper on a blitz every single time? And then Quay Walker. Quay
Wait,
Walker's a mid
right.
linebacker. Mid. The
Okay.
defensive tackles, yeah, you have Kenny Clark, but Kenny Clark, man, he's old. He's old. Lucas Van Ness is not panning out. Yes, you have Rashawn Gary.
Mhm.
Like they towards the end of the season last year, we saw what happened to that defense. Beginning of the season, you were like, "Oh my gosh, this Packers defense is lights out." But then right, what happened? People had
Yeah.
film on
Figure it
them.
out. Yeah.
They figured it out, right?
Mhm.
So I have them third. I have the Bears finishing second, creeping into that wild card spot.
Mhm.
Defensively, as much as we didn't like him when he was in New Orleans, I mean, what's his name? Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen. Yeah.
They already had the pieces. I think he's going to fit in right well. Ben Johnson's going to get Caleb Williams right, just like he did Jared Goff. And now they have the offensive line that they needed, right? I think left tackle is still a weak point for them, but I think
Sure.
Ben Johnson will be able to work around that and still, make things happen. And like you said, the weapons, Colston Loveland, Luther
Yeah.
Burden, Romo Dunze, DJ Moore. Like, there's no excuses for Caleb now.
No,
Like,
my God, you got weapons.
He's
aplenty,
got
dude.
to execute. And if the story is true, like coaches wouldn't watch film with him, like he's gonna have his world, like his mind blown because Ben Johnson's gonna be like, "Let's go." In the
Let's go.
film,
Yeah. True.
And to me, it's still the Lions. I think they promoted Kelvin Shepard, who was their linebackers coach for the past 4 years. He's a linebacker guy. I think he's going to keep what Aaron Glenn did there because that's what they did well. And they were hurt so much last year on the defensive side. They're going to get healthy. Terrion Arnold in his second year. DJ Reed, they have Brian Branch. What's his name? What's the other safety's name?
Kirby Joseph.
Kirby Joseph. The linebackers are great. Like Aiden Hutchins is going to like the defense is going to be rocking and rolling. I'm with you. They may take a slight step back with John Morton, but I see they have Hank what's his name? Hank Fraley.
Oh, he's a guru at the offensive line.
He is the run game coordinator for them.
Yeah.
So Gibbs and David Montgomery, I think they're still going to eat. Get this. You want to know how old you are? You remember Tashard Choice?
I do.
He's their running backs coach. You remember Bruce Gradkowski?
Oh, yeah.
He's on their coaching staff. Mark Brunell is the quarterbacks coach. Like, there are a lot of guys that we watched when we were kids.
Yeah.
That are there. So to me, it's still the Lions. I don't think they win 15 games last year.
Yeah.
I don't think they win 15, but I think they still come out on top of the division.
Would you say 11 wins is probably more around their calling?
12 to 13 to me.
12 to 13, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Eric, you are old. Yes.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, buddy. All right, man. So, all right. While I have the Packers, Brotalk has the Lions still coming out on top in the NFC North. Moving on to the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Washington Commanders. Now, this is a fun division. It's It's a physical, fun division. I like watching NFC East matchups because I think all ball clubs bring the best out of each other. It's just good shit to watch. I still feel it's Philadelphia, division to take. It's Philly, man. Howie Roseman, just the way that they draft, the way that they miss out on pieces, but are able to bring some in. Ja'Day Campbell falling to them, in the back of the first round. That's going to be amazing. So needless to say, it's Philly for me, a number one. I'm gonna say Dallas number two for now. I'm gonna say Dallas number two. Okay, hear me out. Micah Parsons, obviously. Donovan Izuriko, out of Boston College, is going to be the other edge presence over there. But the other linebacker there, Demarion Overshown.
Well, he just blew his knee out. He might not play next year.
Wait a minute. That's not information I had. He blew his knee out. Don't tell me that.
Yeah, like mid-season last year, and it's like he tore every single ligament in his knee.
Oh, last year I thought you saw. Okay, I thought you saw.
Hold on. It's every single thing.
Yeah,
he may not play.
Yeah, gotcha.
So that's what
Yeah. All right, so for me, still, I think Dallas does. I think the George Pickens trade, even though a lot of people are like, oh, what the fuck, you're gonna have that head case. It's gonna allow CD to be moved around a little bit more in that offense and allow him to do a lot of damage.
He's gonna have more freedom for sure.
He's gonna have more freedom for sure. I think if Dallas if they do enough where not everybody has to be the a main contributor, like everybody just contributes. I think they can make some noise in the NFC. I really do. I think they can finish second in that there. The Cowboys are closer to the Giants than they are in second place of anything. Which, yeah, okay, that's fine. I got the Giants finishing in last place, so I'll say it's Eagles, Dallas, Washington, Giants for me in last place.
Okay, I'm with you, Philly. It's Philly's division until said. They haven't had a repeat winner in that division for 20 years. Like, it's always been someone different. So when I picked Philly, people were like, this guy doesn't do his research. He doesn't know there aren't any repeat winners. Okay, stuff like that's meant to be broken, right? These other teams aren't at the level talent-wise to the Eagles. As much crap as I give Jalen Hurts, he's a good quarterback. The weapons are still there. The offensive line is still there. Defensively, Vic Fangio didn't go anywhere. And if anything, they got better on defense.
They did. That's the scary part, man.
Todd Campbell, you're like, yeah. Now Jalen Carter's heading into his, third year, fourth year, whatever. Like, he's developing even more. And he was a, blue chip prospect. So it's the Eagles, and I think they're going to be the number one seed in the NFC, personally. It's their conference to lose. I could see them, getting back to the Super Bowl. For me, in second place, I do think it's the Commanders. I know Bones is right here, says that their defense got worse. Yes, I think it did get slightly worse, but I think they drafted well enough. I love the Trey Amos pick in the second round.
Yeah.
He could start week one, kick Sanders still into the nickel that he plays, and that secondary immediately gets boosted. I think they do enough offensively to help the defense. The Dan Quinn special, right? They may
bend but don't break.
Bend but don't break, right? He tried that Legion of Boom style here, and then doing it over there. It worked in Dallas for a little bit. Now he's doing it in Washington, and offensively, if they can hold the rock, churn clock, they can win a lot of games. I think they maybe win one or two games less, but I think it's enough for second place. For me, the Cowboys, offensively, yes, love the George Pickens trade. I got a lot of flack on YouTube. Like, this short blew up, and I'm being called all the names that you can think of because I said they reached on Tyler Booker. Okay, I didn't say Tyler Booker was a bad player. I think he's going to be an All-Pro. It's a Cowboys pick. But the biggest issue that they have is run defense. Run defense. I'm saying it right now, and we're in May. Saquon's going for 200 plus week one. He's running it up the gun, duo, power up the middle. He's going to torch them where Jalen Hurts may not even throw over 100 yards because he doesn't need to.
Right.
Because he doesn't need to. And they didn't address it. They had Walter Nolan right there. They had our now Falcon Jalen Walker there that maybe they could have had as an off-ball guy. They had Jahad Campbell there. Like their linebacker core and defensive tackle room against the run, very weak. Against the pass, I'm with you. They are one of the best, right? One of the best. But to me, 7 wins is their ceiling this coming year. And then the Giants, they'll be lucky to win 3 games. I think they clear house and start.
They clear house. Yeah.
So I'm not going to do. I mean, the defensive front's fun. You know, Micah Parsons, Brian Burns, Sexy Dexy coming back.
Yeah.
David Thibodeau, their NASCAR package. But the offense, everyone's like, oh, yeah, Jackson Dart. Stop.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson 2.0, okay?
Yeah.
Zach Wilson 2.0.
Hey, man, everybody gets a little hype before the draft, and then, you know, they see their stock just rocket. It's like, damn, man, they're really pushing the narrative on this kid. But, you know, that's the Giants' problem, so it is what it is. So to recap, the NFC North, Green Bay Packers for me, Detroit still for Brotalk. We're both in agreement with the Philadelphia Eagles on the East. And now turning our sights to the NFC West.
We're saving the NFC South for last, guys.
Yeah.
All of you being here for the whole show, thank you. We'll get there. Don't you worry.
Absolutely, man. Wait, Detroit fan man says I had the Eagles, Commanders, Lions as top 3 teams in the NFC. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, fair. With a decent gap before everyone else. Thought this was mainstream. Okay. So AFC West, Arizona Cardinals, the Rams, Frisco, and Seattle. This is a tough division. I think it's gotten tougher. I think every team has gotten maybe better. Let me hear what you got. So I feel like the Rams are the team to beat in the West right now. In second, I'm sorry, but I gotta go here. Seattle for me is in second. McDonald is going to have that fucking defense humming in Seattle. And we round out with Frisco and Arizona. But it's fluid. Anything can happen, right? Like we say in football. I'm going to steal a page from your book. Yeah. But I feel like the Rams are clear-cut winners of this division, like I mentioned, followed by Seattle. I think Seattle's going to shock some people. And then we got Arizona and then Frisco. I think it's a crime to pay as much as you did for Brock Purdy. I'm sorry. I think that Cinderella fucking story is going to end soon, and they're gonna sit on all that massive contract.
I think it'll work out because I think they'll get rid of like Brandon Ayuk after this year.
Yeah,
they'll dump some contracts, and I think it'll work out. Yeah, I'm with you. I wouldn't have paid Brock Purdy all that money. I would have waited one more offseason and gambled on him not doing better than last year.
Exactly.
Be like, look, dude, you had one good year. This is this will give you Baker Mayfield type money.
Right. Deservedly so. Yeah.
But anyways, for me, last place is the Seattle Seahawks. And you want to know why? I don't care that they drafted Gray Zabel. I don't.
Oh, shit.
That right side of the offensive line is still garbage. The center is questionable at best. Sure, your left side may be better. Outside zone with Clint Kubiak, but Sam Darnold, the same Sam Darnold how many picks, how many turnovers he have against the Rams?
Yeah, the Rams in the playoffs.
Now he has to play him twice a year. Can we see ghosts out there? Come on.
Oh, here we go.
Come on, man. Can we seeing ghosts? They paid. You want to talk about overpaying on a contract? That's Sam Darnold. I don't care that Clint Kubiak. We saw what Derek Carr was for the first 2 weeks with Clint Kubiak, and then what happened?
Yeah,
and then what happened?
Yep.
And the Aints have a better offensive line than the Seahawks do. And they were healthy for the most part. They towards the end they had the injury bug, but the Seahawks are atrocious on the right side. They're still not going to have a run game. They're going to have to solely rely on Sam Darnold to carry their offense. I don't think he can do it. I don't think so. No.
That's a fair argument.
Third place, I think, is Frisco. I think their offensive line is a big question mark. Brandon Ayuk is going to be ready week 1. Ricky Pearsall, we don't know who he is. Yeah. George Kittle, yeah, sure. Christian McCaffrey coming back, but
Jawan Jennings, you can't leave him out.
Oh my God. The weight is on Brock Purdy. Can he have the time for his timing throws? I mean, that's all the Shanahan offense is, right? You hit your drop, you're hitting a spot, and the receiver's supposed to be there. Defensively, I think Robert Salah, He's doing his thing. We're going to see some fun defensive stuff.
Yeah.
But I think they lost a lot of good veteran pieces on the defensive side. I think it's going to take one more offseason for Salah to really solidify that defense. Yeah. And to me, the Cardinals will be a winning team this season. Really like what Jonathan Gannon has done. Kyler Murray, I think, is overrated, but overall, defensively, Gannon's been trying to build that defense, and I think he has all the pieces he needs now to hum and make things hard in the West. And then, like you said, the Rams, they just got better. They got Tay Adams, who is an upgrade from Cooper Kupp. And then that's another thing. So the Seahawks signed Cooper Kupp like he's their savior. Brother can't stay healthy for a single year after winning the Triple Crown. Like, come on, man. You had Emeka Egbuka right there. At least draft another good wide receiver.
Yeah.
That was another fan base that came after me. They're like, well, first of all, I said Greg, not realizing that his name was Greg the whole time. That's on me. Like, I'll own that mistake. That was on me.
I remember that. Yeah,
that's on me. But I'm over here telling them.
Ask me where the Chargers play.
Yeah, San Diego, right?
I'm here to help you, man.
And I understand why they selected Gray, right? He's laterally moves really well. He can
very well combine.
Mm-hmm. But you want to talk about a fan base not understanding the fact that there were a lot better premium positions available, like Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah.
Great. Tomatoes. Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Shout out Eric, man.
Anyways, we're fans, right? Of course.
Yeah.
It's my opinion, right? Gray's may become a Hall of Fame player. We don't know until it happens, but I just don't think that, Seahawks last, Rams first. I think the Rams are going to be fighting for that 1 seed, but end up being the 2 seed.
2 seed, yeah. Just gotta love what McVay and company, are gonna do, have been doing. That's it's a good duo right there with Puka and Tay Adams, man. That's a pretty 1-2 punch, man.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty good. So, without further ado, ever so competitive NFC South, that is. Excuse me. Jesus Lord, it's getting past my bedtime here. NFC South talk. Here we go. Atlanta Falcons, Carolina team, the Aints team, and the Bucks team. That's how we're gonna go with them. How are you feeling? I'm gonna start off with you because I know you're gonna go into this. I know you're gonna go into this really real deep. I think we could scratch the Aints. I think the Aints are in a horrible spot. Rebuild, last place.
Oh yeah, that's a no question. They'll be lucky to win 5 games,
if that, because they got a pretty tough schedule. And
they have a tough schedule. Their defense is old. Secondary wise, you've got Tyrann Mathieu. I can't remember the other kid's name. They're going to have to rely on Kool-Aid McKinstry, who struggled last year.
Struggled mightily.
New defensive coordinator. Is he going to keep the same scheme? Is he going to go to his own? Like, that's a learning curve in itself. I didn't like their draft personally. And, another team that I said reached, and it wasn't a biased pick. Like, I think Kelvin Banks is going to be a great guard. But now they're talking about, instead of get this, Talise Fuaga, who I hate that he went there, but played the left side. Mm-hmm. Okay. His natural side is the right side, right?
Sure.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So it would make sense if the Aints were smart, right? If that's asking a lot. If they moved Fuaga to the right and if they want to play Banks at tackle, put him on the left side, right? Tell me why I'm seeing insiders say they're going to move Banks to the right side and keep Fuaga on the left.
Why? That makes no sense, right?
It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. Like, I understand you got to replace Ramczyk, and Trevor Penning isn't all that. If you were smart and actually used your brain, you would say, hey, Talise, thanks for learning the left side. We really appreciate it. Now we know you can do it. We're going to put you back on the right side. And he'd probably be like, hell
fucking
yeah, man.
All pro, man.
Hell yeah, all pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kelvin, we're going to test you out at the left tackle spot. No, they're not doing it. They're not doing it. And then Tyler Shuck, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Aints fans are gaslighting themselves like we were with Desmond Ridder, man.
Yeah, baby.
And that dude, listen, I watched him at Texas Tech before he transferred to Louisville. He has some nice moments. That's it. He's not consistent at all. The deep ball is wobbly. Like the accuracy isn't there in the middle of the field. Yeah, I'm just glad he went there, right? Instead of Shedeur, because I want Shedeur to do well. And if he went there, I wouldn't be able to cheer him on.
Gotcha. No, valid. So we are in agreement that the Saints finished in fourth place.
Yes.
Third place in this division. I
think this is where we differ a little bit.
Possibly. Yeah.
You go for it.
I'm gonna go Tampa.
Oh wait, no, we don't. I'm going Tampa as well.
Okay.
I'm going Tampa as well. And I was called crazy.
Yeah. No, I just think Tampa, Amika Ibuka at, 20, 21. I didn't understand why they went there.
That was another one in my video where I was like, are you dumb? Amika Ibuka is an awesome pick. Like, I'm not saying it's not.
Right.
But, brother, you've got Levante David, who's got a cane out there playing linebacker. Anthony Walker Jr. is your other linebacker. Like, is Ben Morrison actually going to play this year? Or is his hip his hip? Is his hip still hindering? You're still going to rely on Dean and what's the other kid's name who had some good moments, but now it started to take. What's the other kid's name?
Zyla McCollum.
Yes. Like, he has good moments, but like people don't understand. In order for Todd Bowles' defense to be successful, because he's such a heavy blitzer, the blitz has to get there, and you need dominance on the front to allow those linebackers to get free, right?
Yeah.
They don't like to admit the blitz doesn't get there every single time. And Kirk Cousins showed you exactly what can happen. A Kirk Cousins-led Falcons team swept the supposed best team in the NFC South. Now you have Michael Penix Jr. coming into the fold, right? You're telling me that Levante David is going to be able to get to the quarterback, or Anthony Walker Jr.? Who's the other guy they drafted? David Walker, who we liked in the draft process.
Yeah, Central Arkansas.
He's not going to be a starter. Hassan Reddick, washed. Okay,
washed big time.
Washed. He's going to be dropping in coverage more than he's going to be rushing, and people are going to be pissed because Todd Bowles loves simulated pressures.
Sure does.
So if a linebacker comes, an edge rusher's dropping, and then Vita Vea. I mean, Vita Vea is Vita Vea. He's a
fucking force, man.
He's a force, and he can get pressure in the face of the quarterback and run stuff. But then people are gassing up. I had a Bucs fan gas up Shiloh Sanders.
Stop.
They were like, we signed Shiloh.
Wow, really? Why? Because he has a Sanders last name?
Right, brother. Brother, tell me you don't watch without telling me.
Yeah, right.
And then Desmond Watson, who, yes, is a big body, but, brother, this is the NFL. This isn't college. You're not playing against accountants or real estate agents anymore. You're playing against professional football players. You're going up against Chris Lindstrom, an all-pro twice a year.
And Matthew Bergeron, soon to be.
And Matthew Bergeron. Berto, this is Berto's preseason pick to surprise everyone, Matthew Bergeron. And I love that. That. So, in agreement, third place, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep. And we moved to Carolina going in second place. To go on also with Tampa, I got to make this point. I feel like it's a valid point. I think that Baker the last 2 years or last 3 years has been a benefactor in having, I don't want to say brilliant OCs, but good, competent offensive coordinators. Dave Canales, a QB whisperer in his own right. Now with Bryce Young in Carolina, and now Liam Cohen leaves to take the job with Jacksonville. I think those two guys were just an integral part of Baker Mayfield and hiding a lot of his deficiencies. Professionally, I just feel like Baker takes a massive step backwards. I don't think we see the same Baker, throwing for almost 4,000 yards and shit like that. I think he takes a massive step backwards. Man.
Look. What's that guy so I got screen recorded, and, one of my lovely followers on Twitter let me know and tagged me, the guy named Bucks Report, and he called me absurd. And he said in his live that they're set at offensive coordinator. I'm like, brother, how do you know that? You don't. You struck gold twice with Canales and Cohen, who are now head coaches, which is great.
Yeah.
But now, how are you so confident that this guy is going to be able to replicate? How are you able to know? Because Liam Cohen understood the flow of the game, knew when to call certain run plays, knew when to attack certain parts of the field. how do you know this guy's going to do the same thing? For all you know, this guy could be an ego-centric guy and like, no, we're going to run my offense.
Right.
We're going to run my offense. And then it's going to crumble.
Yeah.
Like, everyone in the division and in the NFC got better. Like, it's absurd to hear people think that the Buccaneers are a 14-15 win team. They're not.
Oh, hell no.
They're not by any stretch of it. They'll be lucky if they're a 9-win team this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have a really hard schedule this year. And a lot of people are like, what? They're better. They're going to win all these. Dude, wake up. Wake up, please.
Yeah. And we move to the Carolina Panthers. Listen, yes, as the NFC South. Yes, they're a foe.
They've been running their mouth a lot.
They've been running their mouth a lot. I know. They really have, man. Deion Jones is still on the Bucs. Yikes.
That's their savior right there, baby. They saw that 30 for 30 moment against Jameis, and they said, we
sign him up now. Lucrative deal at that. But the Carolina Panthers, I was a fan of their offseason. I really was. I was a fan of their draft process too. I think defensively they got better. Ivaro Jaro, I think, has a lot of pieces to hopefully or just have his vision come to fruition in this year. Offensively, I don't think they did anything to get better. I really don't. They lost. Didn't they lose? Then they just lose their running back for the year. So
Jonathan Brooks.
Jonathan Brooks. They've been waiting on him.
They drafted Trevor Etienne. I think Chuba Hubbard is underrated in my opinion.
Sure is. Yeah.
I think he's underrated. I think offensively they'll be able to grow. I think adding Tet McMillan, a true number one for Bryce. I know you don't. I know you don't want to speak highly of them. I think Xavier Legette was overhyped.
Massively overhyped. He's more worried about riding horses than he is learning the playbook.
He be worried about eating them coons, man. Got to eat them coons. Oh, yeah, you ain't never had a squirrel? Yeah, man. I'm from the South, so I know what the accent is. But anyways, I like Jalen Coker. Adam Thielen still got a little juice under those old legs. I think they can give us problems. We talked about it. I think we're going to split with them, each taking a game at home, whoever the home team is. Defensively, the biggest question mark I still have is the safety over the middle and, the opposite corner of JC Horn. Yeah. And actually linebacker as well. Like the front, the way they built it to stop the run, we talked about it. They were the worst run defense. Sure. They wanted to fix it. I think they did that. Nick Scour, they just released Jadeveon Clowney, so they're relying on Nick Scourton and Princely Umalant. You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. Princely U. They're going to be relying on them, and Panther fans are so funny. They're like, Dan Morgan had a first-round grade on Nick Scourton, so we got a first-rounder in the second round. That's not how
it works.
That's not how this works.
Man.
That was funny. Be like, so Xavier Watts was a second-round pick, but we got him in third, so we really drafted a second-rounder, right? Like, that's ridiculous. Anyways, but I think they'll be competitive. I think they can get 10 wins. And potentially make the wild card.
Gotcha. Christy, what is going on? Long time no see. Christy Lewis, man, part of the AFN Ladybirds on YouTube as well. Great group of girls, women at that, great group of women that just know their Falcon shit. They know their Falcons football. Make sure you tap in. Christy, if you want to put down what night you ladies are on, please do so folks can gravitate and go and check you guys out as well. So leaves us with the division winner, our beloved Atlanta Falcons. I will let you go first, sir.
Listen, a lot of people like to say it's bias speaking and we're not realistic and this, that, and the other. But if you look at it, when we first went through free agency, we were like, our defense is the biggest question mark because, we didn't get better. We replaced some players, but not necessarily players that upgraded the roster. Well, then the draft happens. And I think, we talk about it. The first 4 guys we selected could be starters. I think 3 of the 4 will be, and then eventually all 4 will be before the year is up. And what they bring to the table, football smarts, leadership, the football speed that we upgraded because we were a slow team, the tackling ability, like I think people are are sleeping on the Falcons defense. I don't think we're going to be a top 10 unit by any means, but I think we're going to have a significant jump that a lot of people are going to be like, well, how did we miss that? Well, that's because, we're the Falcons and everyone likes to poop on us, right? We're the punching bag of the league, right? That's what they like to do with us. And then offensively, for whatever reason, the majority of the league media is sleeping on Michael Penix. I don't understand what they see him be, and they're like, yeah, I just don't see it. I think he's a bust, or I need to see more. And they default to the Commanders game where he struggled. Yes, that was his worst game played, but I tweeted it out. It's like, okay, it exposed the lack of reps, the lack of chemistry, the lack of timing, seeing the same thing, talking about it. Like, that was exposed. And then you go to the last week of the season, and then it got improved significantly. And everyone's like, well, it's the Panthers defense. It's still an NFL defense.
Absolutely.
Yep. You still have to make your timing throws. I mean, we saw that whole shot to Kadero Hodge in the sideline.
Amazing, man.
And that gives you a glimpse of his arm strength. And now they're adding even more. And then people, they sleep on our offensive line because, Drew Dahlman's gone. Guys, Drew Dahlman was made by the guards next to him. Matthew Bargeron wasn't a Pro Bowl guy, but he still did a lot of the dirty work that put Dahlman in position. Now, I will say Dahlman had good moments where he was able to reach the linebackers very quickly because he does have a good first step.
Sure does.
But he had an All-Pro next to him at the right side, and Chris Lindstrom, pass protection. That's where Dahlman struggled. Nuzeel is a slight downgrade because his run blocking isn't as good, but 8-game sample size should give you enough confidence to say, okay, we're going to be okay. And then next offseason, we can address it with either a free agent, by trade, or, in the draft in the second round, since we don't have a first round. And that's another thing. People are like, the Falcons traded away their 2026 first round pick. They overspent on James Pierce Jr. Well, hello. If you didn't know, the Detroit Lions tried to trade up with the Chargers to get said player.
Imagine that.
Oh.
Not that overdrafted guy. Why would they?
I mean, it's only okay if someone else does it, but if the Falcons do it, what are they doing, right? Michael Penix Jr., right? We were the same thing, like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. And then look at us now. We're not stressing about a quarterback because the front office knew what this year was going to be quarterback-wise, and if Kirk didn't work out like they thought, which he didn't, we would be scrambling for a quarterback this year. And then we'd be like, yeah, we're not.
We're not
going to do well.
We could be talking Jackson Dart. Do you imagine, bro? Oh, my God.
We'd be gaslighting ourselves again. So a lot of people are sleeping on us. Do I think we're like this 13-win team? No, I don't.
Not yet.
I think our ceiling is 12, but realistically we'll be 10 and we'll win the tiebreaker from the Panthers. But we're going to see a good step forward from coaching staff, offense, and defense to where going into the 26th season, it's like, okay, the Falcons are going to be a team to compete with because now everyone will have a full season of Michael Penix, right? And then they can feel all good inside because they'd be like, yay, we have film on him instead of just using their eyes.
Yeah, man.
God, man.
Speaking of film and using eyes, what is one element to this Falcons offense you can see take off this year in Zach Robinson's second year?
I mean, more route concepts, more complicated route concepts, some easier throws for Michael Penix. Zach was interviewed and he said, like, I didn't throw everything at them because I didn't want to overload them. And then mid-season throw even more. So now this playbook is going to open up even more. The only thing Bones is going to back me up on here is the run game. We are an outside zone heavy team, which it works, right?
Yep.
Bijan's very patient. He finds the crease and he goes, right? Tyler Algier's really good at finding the crease and goes, right? We were the most successful. We had the most run success of any team since 2019, like the highest percentage, right? Shout out Nate Tice for putting that out there.
Dope shit.
So we have success, but when you add combinations of gap scheme, when you have a pulling guard tight end, pulling center, I don't think Nuzeel can pull, but Lindstrom and Bergeron surely can. Imagine Lindstrom and then Charlie Werner right behind him.
Oh Lord!
Boom, and then Vamonos.
On.
Up the middle.
Absolutely.
More duo, right? A lot of people are like,
Yep.
oh, we don't have maulers. What are you talking about? Caleb McGarry was drafted because he is a run game mauler. His struggles, right, where he's weak, is his pass protection. So if you add these things, well, then that playbook opens up even more because the play action looks like it's going to be a run. Oh, let's bite. Oh, crap. Then the middle of the field is wide open, right? So these are the type of things that I expect and hope to see, right? I don't know if we'll get gap scheme because Dwayne Ledford's our run game coordinator, but it's Zach's offense. He can go up, Dwayne works for him. He can say, Dwayne, we need to add this to the run game. And it's up to Dwayne to do that and coach it up and get the guys on board. But we have the guys to be able to do that. So
I have one. And sorry, yeah. So you said bite up, right? And usually when you bite up, it's off of a certain play call, and that's the play action. Falcons were one of the worst teams last year in the play action territory. They didn't really run that offense as much, and I think it's because of the inabilities of Kirk. Right. Fast forward to now, you got a talented quarterback with the arm that can get the ball down the field. A lot of folks would say we don't have the receiver that can go all the way down and stretch the field. But you don't necessarily need to go all the way down the field at all times. You can run play action and just give a quick dump off to Bijan out the backside. And that's real estate in front. And you want Bijan in space. Darnell Mooney, excellent at over route concepts. We killed the Eagles in week 2 in over route concept, over route routes, excuse me. So those are areas that I think that the Falcons with Michael Penix can capitalize on defenses this upcoming year. It's just bringing that that play action game to life. Falcons finished in the bottom of the league in play action passes, but I think, like I mentioned, I think it's because of Kirk's inability. Man.
Yeah, a lot of people like to poop on our receivers too. Darnell Mooney is still disrespected, and the only reason he didn't break 1,000 yards was because he was hurt the last game.
Yeah.
Right? Ray's Ray. He's going to maybe give you 400 yards, a couple touchdowns, but he's got the speed. Love to see Nick Nash make is it Nick Nash? Am I forgetting his name?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. I'd love to see him make the team
Triple crown winner.
Yeah, exactly. He could be our Puka Nacua, but to your point, like, you don't need this over-the-top speed. Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua combo were not oh my God, they're going to beat us with their speed. No. It was the play action that opened up voids in the defense, and they knew where to be, right? And Matthew Stafford would rifle it, right? Who's Michael Penix compared to as far as his throwing motion and tight spiral? It's Matthew Stafford, right? So they're trying to build that Sean, and it's hard to build what Sean McVay has built, but something similar, just slightly different, right? So I'm ready, dude. Every time someone tries to poop on the Falcons, I just can't wait for the season so they can finally prove us right and prove them wrong.
Right. I love it, man. What does Jones say here? The key, I think, for the Birds is time of possession on offense and scoring. Keep the defense fresh and let them do what they're built to do and hunt in the pass game. That's a fair thing, man.
But to Bones' point, right? When you're ahead and your time of possession, the other team gets, like, oh man, we got to score quick, right? Or we got to throw the ball. When that the other team has to throw the ball, that's when you can pin your ears back and go get the guy, right? And last year, the Falcons really weren't in situations like, is it going to be run? Is it going to be pass? They didn't really get to go and do that, and they were thinking too much. And sometimes thinking too much instead of just playing the game affects you. Doesn't get your full potential. And I think we saw that with David Onyemata. We talk about it.
Yeah.
David Onyemata, we should see a bounce back year in his final year of his contract.
Yep. I love it. Oh, we got another one right here from Andreas. Do you think we use Bijan on more inside runs instead of mostly outside runs? The scheme would have to change, like you just mentioned. We would have to integrate more, power concepts or in between tackles runs for Bijan and Tyler to capitalize on that.
It's going to be both, because it's going to be Bijan 90%, Tyler 10, and that's just the unfortunate, because we think so highly of Tyler Algier and speak so highly of him and wish it was more of a 60-40 maybe, or closer to 50-50. But you don't draft Bijan at 8 overall to split carries, even though Jahmyr Gibbs was drafted at 12 and David Montgomery was a third-round pick, and it works out for the Lions. I just don't see why it can't work out for us. But hey, I'm not the play caller.
Right. 404 Mars says, do y'all think Hodge could have a solid role in offense this season? No.
Rotational piece. I think he's Drake's backup, right? When he had that game-winning touchdown against the Buccaneers, it's because Drake, was slightly hurt.
He was out. Yep.
Yeah, he was out that play, so it just happened to be Hodge. I think Hodge is going to make a name for himself in the special teams again, another Pro Bowl year, potentially an All-Pro this coming year at Gunner. I'm really excited that he got re-signed. Gives good depth at the receiver, and he's a special teams ace.
Gotcha. Do you think Washington or Nash can take the third wide receiver spot? I wouldn't go as high as third. I think Ray's good. Ray does enough. Ray did a lot of dirty work for this Falcons offense. He was the guy that worked the middle of this of defenses, man. And he got you tough, grinded out yardage after the catch. Almost broke for 700 yards. Only had one touchdown. I think we can expect the same. I think we can expect the same from Ray. Now, if you want to talk fourth wide receiver, I think this is where Nash can overtake Casey Washington, because I think Nash is just a more accomplished or more ready receiver than Casey is at this point.
Yeah, when we drafted Casey, I did question that selection, but then, of course, I want to believe that they have a plan, right? Obviously, with Casey being drafted, what was he, a fifth-round guy, sixth-round guy? Sixth-round guy. Yeah, I mean, those guys, they got to really fight to climb the depth chart. You don't expect to find a diamond. If you do, great, but you're just, you're trying. To me, Nash, I think, could be a better run blocker than Ray. We saw Ray in the 8-man, 9-man protection. And it's Ray. I love Ray. He's got great speed, great hands, can do good things in open space, but he's not really a blocker. Don't be surprised. I'm prepared for Nick Nash to potentially become the third receiver, and Ray, become a rotational guy that is more special, a returner type person. Because who's going to return our punts? Is it Agnew, Jamal?
Probably.
Yeah, that probably is. Yeah.
Gotcha. Here's another one. The questions keep flooding in. Do you guys think Kobe Bryant makes the 53? And if so, would he be a starter for this defense? Not a starter, but definitely a backup.
You never know, right? If you got to put the best players out there, and if he's beating Mike Hughes, he's not beating AJ, right? But if he's beating Mike Hughes in camp and making more plays, and we see the type of trash talker that he is, he's got a fire lit under him because 26 other corners were drafted ahead of him. You put him out there, but I think he does make the 53. I think he's a backup guy the first year that could potentially be a starter the following year.
Yeah, I just don't think he'll do enough to beat Mike Hughes. Mike Hughes was on par with AJ for a little while, and then shit happened. What shit happened? I don't know. Mike did dip a little bit, but yeah, Kobe can come in, definitely make the roster, but I don't think he overtakes the opposite corner side yet. Not yet. Will Pitts break out being his contract year? I don't know if you can break out. He already had 1,000 yards. That's kind of like a breakout year in a sense.
Well, it was his rookie year, but that's 4 years later. So I think the question more so is like, can Pitts regain form from his rookie year?
I don't think so.
It depends, right? It's all about his usage. Is it going to be more inline? Because he was outsnapped by Charlie Werner to end the year. Like Charlie Werner was 52%, 53% of the snaps, and then Kyle was less than, and it had to do a lot with his blocking, right? He's a tight end. He's a tight end in a wide receiver's body, right? He needs to work on the protection. He needs to work on his chips. And if he did that and worked on his timing, worked on the right, the quarterback has to trust you in order to get you the ball. we could see that, but it's hard to say yes when every year we gaslight ourselves and say, yes,
Yeah.
this is
This
Kyle
is the
Pitts'
year.
year. And if it is this year, hell yeah. But if it's
Hell
not,
yeah, man.
don't be surprised because we have a lot of mouths to feed on the offense.
That's the point. That's a great point. You flash back to 2021. He was the offense. It was him, OZ, and who else? Cordell Patterson. That was the Falcons' offense, unfortunately.
Oh,
So he had plenty of opportunity to put up stats. It's not the case around. There's too many mouths to feed. Joe's Bones. I feel like our special team is going to be something. I'm guessing he's trying to say bring back Mike Ford, core guys like Malone, Zach Harrison, Adam Agnew, and the main man Hodge. Kicker is the one question. Which kicker today competition was brought in the form of
Marquise Williams.
Marquise Williams saying that there will be competition in camp with Young Wei Koo. So we'll see. We'll see what comes from that, man. But yes, Young Wei Koo needs a fire lit under his ass after what he did last year. Carey goes on to say, I think Kobe's going to play with a point to prove because he's upset he went undrafted. And yeah, that guys find motivation in that to just thrust them and propel them throughout a season. Just don't know if he's going to crack the lineup, though.
Some may say he's going to make them all pay. I'm just saying. I heard he's not happy. I have heard that he is not happy. Yeah. I mean, we've seen it all, right? We've all seen social media posts and whatnot, but someone close did say like he's really getting after it, and he does want to make everyone pay, even the Atlanta Falcons, because we did pass on him as well.
We did, yeah.
But someone
also very close said that if something happens, they will be on air too.
Hold on. Just a little tease, right? Let's a couple more questions because we are running over.
Yeah. Do y'all think the coaching staff still believes in DeMarco Hellams? I think he's a wild card in this defense.
I think the unfortunate injury last year set him back. He's a 7th round safety. I think he's going to have to climb back up the depth chart. He's going to be a special teams guy first this year. But he's going to really have to climb. If they really, really believed in him, you wouldn't have seen Xavier Watts get drafted.
Oh, shit,
my
man.
signature to do that.
Yeah, right. It is, man. And lastly, Carey says, I think we don't use Pitts in the red zone enough. I agree. And I don't even remember us really drawing up any plays for him last year. Hope Z-Rob improves that this season, and Pitts always plays hungry as well in this contract. Yeah, we assume that he will play, a whole lot hungrier with a lot more initiative because of the incentive that's waiting for him potentially at the end of it. And yes, he's not utilized enough in the red zone. He caught that wonderful pass from Penix in that Washington game. And like the memories of that start to dwindle when you start thinking back of how many times Penix was a red zone target for the Falcons last year. Hopefully that we improve on that this year.
The biggest thing I want to see to end the show, like for Z-Rob and Pitts, is, we're so heavy outside zone. Take a page out of Sean Payton's book or the Kubiak's. Run some tight end freaking leaks or tight end middle screens. Like, just get Pitts moving and get the ball in his hands and get him north and south, right? Like tight end leaks in the red zone are so dangerous because you have the defense going one way and then he just slips by just enough. And Penix just got to.
Remember how Shanny used to use Austin Hooper? Tight end leaks galore, man.
Remember that one touchdown against the Seahawks, Toilolo?
Yeah, Levine Toilolo. Yeah.
Bro, that's exactly what you could do with Pitts.
You sure can. And this is a guy with way more speed than Levine Toilolo, our right tackle specialist, Levine Toilolo. Remember that game we had to fill in? He had to fill in as a right tackle? Yeah. Going back memory lane. Oh, Lord. But with that, man, we will end tonight's show. 421 of you guys stuck around and listen to us just gibber and jabber about the AFC and NFC conferences. Do you want to recap? Sure, why not? We have time. So to recap from earlier, the AFC teams, Baltimore taking the North, Houston taking the South, Buffalo taking the East, split on the West where I took the Chargers and Brotalk took the Broncos. Going to the NFC, split on this division also. Brotalk took Detroit. I took Green Bay. We're in agreement with the Atlanta Falcons, of course, and the NFC South. And it's not by any bias reason. We just see the talent that is on hand. The East, Philadelphia Eagles, the Rams for the NFC West. Well, actually, yeah, we took the Rams, right?
Yes, it was the Rams.
Okay, good. I appreciate that. Thank you. But with that, brother, let the folks know where they can find you, man.
Oh, you guys already know at BK Squared. I've been dragging my feet on changing my name to at Dirty Bird Central. That's where you can find me on TikTok and YouTube. YouTube being the long form content. I'm slowly but surely going to put a defensive video and what I think we can expect from a Jeff Ulrich led defense. I think I've been spending a little extra time just so it's, you guys can understand what I'm trying to say and visually see it. So hopefully you guys enjoy that when I finally wrap it up. But TikTok, it's daily NFL content, not just Falcons. If you love the NFL, at Dirty Bird Central. But like I said, at BK Squared, daily tweets on Twitter.
Yeah, you're one show away from being fined if you come up with the shit that, I'm dragging on changing the handle. Change the damn handle already, will you?
Listen, I said the same thing about my YouTube channel. It finally happened maybe a year later, but it's going to happen at some point, okay? Listen.
I'm fucking with you. Gary, thank you so much. And of course, man, I'm Berto, the host of the 95 North Falcons Talk Show and the other half of Reporting Eligible, coming to you live every Wednesday evening, 9:30 sharp. Be sure to tune in next Wednesday. OTAs will be underway for the Atlanta Falcons. So will the talk. We'll continue to commence breaking down offense, defense. We don't know which one we're going to go first, but those are on tap for next week. And, of course, you can also find me on Bleacher Report every Wednesday at 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, that is, with Falcons Weekly Topical. You can find me also on Twitter. I don't really say too much on Twitter. I just try to, at RI Falcons, man. But to Terry's point, great show. Thank you so much for the support. We will see you guys next week. Peace, everybody. God damn it. There it is.